Have you ever gotten a paycheck, needed to pay a few bills, and found it difficult to save? Well, I'll tell you right now that that's a very normal thing to experience. But what if I told you there are easy ways to save? I'll be explaining all of this and more by breaking down a $10,000 amount of money. We'll be going through the fundamental ways to save money so that you can secure a better financial position for yourself and your family. We won't only be talking about the importance of saving money and making those smart money choices, but we'll also be talking about why doing it a certain way is a lot more effective. Generally, it's all about keeping your momentum from small victories. Step 1 to saving $10,000 and fast is, you guessed it, having to start today. I know a lot of us have the tendency to procrastinate, but if you want to start saving money, today's the day to do it. If you want to reach a huge number like 10,000, then you'd have to start as soon as you can. For starters, we can begin with $27.40 a day. This is the $10,000 divided over 365 days. Over the course of this video, I'll also be showing you a few more tips so that this $27.40 won't be such an overwhelming number in the beginning. So that second step is going through our budget to find where we can cut back. We'll be going through our daily expenses and see where exactly we can adjust and completely remove a few expenses. If you ask a few people how much they can save $27.40 a week, most would say at least 3 to 5 times. Some say that it's not such a big amount, and it's really to save, while others claim that it's way too big. They give the same excuses like, I've got to eat, I've got to do this, or I've got to buy new clothes or a certain vice. Sometimes, people even treat themselves to things like energy drinks, an iced coffee, or some form of takeout. If you're someone who enjoys delivery or takeout, you would always have to take into account waiter and delivery services. After all, the fees, the tips, and many other extra expenses, it amounts to almost $10. If you're this type of person, I highly recommend trying to change this lifestyle little by little. Now, let's take into account sales. Let's face it, sales are some of the best things people have ever come up with. They help us save some money while getting the things we need. But my question to you is, would you waste your money on things you might not need just because they're on sale? Probably not, right? When I asked the same question to some of my other colleagues, the answer was almost unanimous. They would say, of course not, we're not crazy. Some would even go on to say that it would be such a waste of money even if you're saving 80% more. If you don't need the item, then there's no need to buy it, no matter how cheap. A small amount of money gets wasted every time someone isn't aware of what he or she is doing with it. Eventually, the money that got wasted amounted to $10,000. Below is an example showing what I mean. Let's not start off with $27.40 right off the bat. Let's try to go a bit smaller and talk about something maybe a lot of us can relate to nowadays. Thanks to our lives getting busier nowadays, a lot of people are gearing towards smaller bursts of energy to sustain their work. We now drink more energy drinks rather than coffee, and for somewhat of a good reason. It's inexpensive and caters to our needs. The other thing about energy drinks is that you can find them almost everywhere, so it really doesn't help with saving money. You can spend anywhere from 1 to 2 or 3 cans in a day, which sometimes amounts to just about $5. Sometimes, if you're feeling lucky, you could get more and it won't cost a lot. What's scarier is that some people even find it a necessity. But let's take a look at that $5. Whenever you buy an energy drink, that's $5. You're essentially spending $152 a month. And if you multiply it by 365 days, that amounts to over $1,825. That's really big money for what? A drink that'll give you a quick buzz and eventually a huge dip in your mood? You might not have noticed it from just spending $5 a day. But looking back at it now, 1,825 is a pretty big number. Since it's part of your routine, you might be defending your purchases of it. But this is exactly what we're discussing. We have to look back at our purchase history and find out exactly what we have to cut out and work on. That leads me to step 3, which is to try to have more discipline. Discipline, to be honest, builds the foundation for saving. Honestly, it's the most important value that anyone can have during the saving process. If you want to save that $10,000, discipline is definitely one of the best starting points. It honestly has nothing to do with the numbers in the papers. It's about the mindset. But when people read a few headlines, they decide that they know everything there is to know about the market today, including discipline. Having a better and more stable mindset helps you make better decisions. That's why, always do research and discipline yourself to not make rash judgments, especially if you see an odd headline in unreliable places. Before I give you a little challenge, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button and leave a like. It tells us that you like our videos and that you learn something new every time with us. And that really helps us make more educational videos. Now, let's get on with this really simple challenge. I challenge you to read 5 headlines and their following articles. I want you to see if those headlines actually accurately capture the main focus of the article. If you can determine that the article and headline are perfect for each other, then you're definitely on the right track. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Research is key to getting your money's worth. As a final step, try to set goals for yourself and plan out your expenses. It's similar to the second step of looking through your purchase history. But now, you're looking toward the future. Having goals and planning out your expenses can help you see what area you need to focus on. It also removes a burden from you since you have a clear goal in mind. You don't have to think about emergencies, nor do you have to think about what you should be paying next. Having these plans and goals will definitely set you up for success. It gives you some direction on how to spend your money and, by extension, helps you cut back on losses and have more saved money. There's probably no better way to go about saving than planning out your purchases and having leeway for any emergencies. So let's get back into the $27.40 and why it's so important but so difficult to save that amount. Well, for starters, you could think about it every single time you go to a fancy or high-end fast food restaurant. It might be expensive, but to you, the taste and the way the food melts in your mouth is worth the expense. This is the first thing that could make it difficult for you to save that $27.40. Another example could be probably investing in some trading cards. These are collectible items that would probably be collecting dust on your shelf. If you don't have a budget nor plan to save up for these items and buy them on a whim, then we've got a real problem on our hands. This will continue to push the goal of saving $10,000 in a year further down the line. There could even be other very real and very relatable issues like problems with rental properties or businesses. Hypothetically, you just bought a bunch of collectible items that were on sale. Now, you might not be able to pay rent because of a few personal circumstances, and that will just add more difficulty to your life. If you maybe had a few savings from your previous salary, then this wouldn't be a problem. When you hold on to buying something that you might not need at the time, we call that delaying gratification. This is a great way to save a lot of money, but it does require a lot of discipline. Remember how we talked about discipline and its importance? Well, you would need a lot of it just to control yourself from impulsive buying. Think of it as a little bit of short-term pain for a lot of long-term gains. Let's try to break it down a little further, meaning what we should probably do from day to day. Of course, the first thing we have to consider is what we'll be buying in a day. If we need groceries, a new phone case, or even a few tools, we have to list it down and account for everything to the very last cent. Being transparent with yourself and the amount of money is going to help you in the long run. It helps you see where your money is going and how to handle it much better for the future. I know $27.40 might be asking a bit too much, depending on your salary, but you'll thank me in the long run. That being said, you shouldn't be too stingy with money either. There really are a few unexpected things that happen, like rush gifts during Christmas or new Halloween decorations for October. Having a good savings account isn't something that happens overnight. It's something you build every single day by being mindful of what you're spending and staying into some form of a budget where you're still comfortable. Money, even though we like to say hard cold cash isn't exactly supposed to make you be hard and cold, you should be flexible with your money and be open to the reality that there will always be money. If you couldn't save the whole $27.40 in a day, you shouldn't beat yourself up over it. Learn from your mistakes and continue to move forward in your saving journey. Trust me, there's probably nothing you can't do once you've set your mind to it. And the reality is that sometimes things like medical emergencies do come up, and saving would have to wait. Just remember that there's always a time and place for everything, like being frugal. Just keep in mind the different steps we've just taught you, and you'll be able to save that $10,000 in no time. I'm not saying that saving should deprive you of the things you want, but there are definitely some things that you might not need to buy right now. It's all about being patient, knowing what you want, planning out your expenses, and delaying gratification. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn a few more tips and tricks to handling your money, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers!